The galaxy watched in horror as the Galactic Empire's latest atrocity unfolded. The stark images of human prisoners, their hands bound, lined up before a firing squad, had just been streamed across the universe. The Empire had wanted to send a message of deterrence. Instead, they sparked a flame of retribution in the hearts of humanity. Captain Eliana Knox watched the broadcast in the dim light of her office aboard the Coalition flagship, Resolve. Her jaw clenched, eyes not wavering from the screen, even as the last prisoner fell. One of those executed was her younger brother, Michael. The screen flickered off, leaving only her reflection, a face marked by both battle and loss. Lieutenant Commander Rajiv, her second-in-command, broke the silence. "Orders, Captain?" Eliana turned, her voice steady. "Assemble the senior staff, Rajiv. Emergency meeting 10 minutes." The officers gathered quickly. The room was a mix of tension and grim determination as Eliana outlined the situation. "We've seen the unspeakable today. The Empire believes they can cow us by executing our people. I say we show them exactly how wrong they are. But I won't lie to you, it's going to be a tough path." Dr. Lena Horowitz, the ship's chief strategist, leaned forward. "We need a plan that's more than just a knee-jerk response. This could escalate into full-scale war." "That's exactly what it's already," Eliana responded. "But Lena's right. We need a plan. Rajiv, what are our assets in the sector?" Rajiv activated the holographic map, pointing out positions. "We have 3 battalions ready, but engaging now is risky without broader support." "Then we get that support. I'll speak to the Coalition. We need to present a united front," Eliana declared. The meeting dispersed with tasks assigned and a new resolve forming. Eliana then made her way to the communications bay, where she prepared to broadcast a call to arms to the other members of the Earth Coalition. "People of the Earth Coalition," Eliana began, her image transmitted across space to countless screens. "Today, we've witnessed a crime against all humanity. Our brothers and sisters were taken from us in cold blood. I stand before you not only as a captain of the Coalition but as a grieving sister. We cannot let these acts go unanswered. It's time to show the Empire that we are not just survivors, but warriors. Join us." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Messages of support flooded in, from worlds Eliana had never visited to ships stationed on the outer rim. The human spirit, it seemed, was ignited. Days turned into weeks as preparations for war escalated. Eliana spent every waking hour in strategy meetings, training simulations, and on secure calls to various political leaders, weaving together an intricate tapestry of alliances and tactics. Meanwhile, on a small, unassuming research station hidden in an asteroid belt, a breakthrough was about to reshape the course of the upcoming conflict. Dr. Emilio Vargas, a brilliant but reclusive cybernetics engineer, had developed a prototype for a neural link that could enhance cognitive processing speeds dramatically. Eliana visited the station to see the technology firsthand. Dr. Vargas, a man of few words, demonstrated the device, a neural implant that interfaced directly with tactical networks. "Captain Knox, this could change the way we fight," he explained, his eyes alight with a mixture of excitement and seriousness. "With this, your strategic decision-making could outpace any known AI used by the Empire." Eliana considered the implications. "And you're sure it's safe?" "As safe as stepping into a battlefield can be," Vargas replied wryly. Decision made, Eliana underwent the procedure. The implant was a mesh of circuits and synaptic connectors, integrated into her nervous system in a grueling operation that left her with a pounding headache but a new sense of clarity. Back on the Resolve, as her new abilities began to manifest, she found she could process tactical data at an unprecedented rate. Plans that once took hours to formulate now snapped into place within minutes. Her first test came swiftly. An Empire scout fleet had been spotted near a key junction point. Using her enhanced capabilities, Eliana coordinated a multi-fleet operation with precision that bewildered her adversaries. The battle was a resounding success. As the last enemy ship retreated, cheers erupted across the Coalition channels. Eliana, however, felt a twinge of something else, a fear that with every use, she was becoming more machine than human. The news of the victory spread, and with it, so did Eliana's reputation. She was hailed as a hero, the brilliant strategist leading humanity's charge. But as her fame grew, so did the scrutiny, and not all were pleased with humanity pushing back so fiercely. An unexpected message arrived from an unknown source, its contents chilling. "Captain Knox, you fight for humanity, but at what cost? Meet us at the coordinates attached if you want to see the real enemy." Intrigued and cautious, Eliana set course for the coordinates. What awaited her there was not a trap, but a secret assembly of alien races, also oppressed by the Empire, who sought an alliance with humanity. "You have shown us that resistance is possible," the assembly's spokesperson, a being from a race Eliana had only read about in reports, said. "We offer you our knowledge, our resources. Together, we can end their reign." As Eliana looked around the room, at faces both strange and familiar, she realized that this war was bigger than her, bigger than humanity. It was a fight for freedom across the galaxy, and they were all in it together. With new allies and a renewed purpose, Eliana returned to the Resolve, ready to take the fight to the heart of the Empire. But first, she needed to address her crew, to prepare them for the road ahead, a road fraught with danger, but also lined with hope. "Today, we stand not just as warriors," she began, addressing the gathered crew. "We stand as liberators, as symbols of what can be achieved when diverse peoples unite against tyranny. We are humanity, and we bring with us the shadows of vengeance and the light of freedom." The crew erupted in cheers, the ship alight with a fervor that would carry them into the heart of battle, united not just by a common enemy, but by a shared dream of a free galaxy. As preparations for the imminent war with the Galactic Empire ramped up, Captain Eliana Knox found herself at the heart of a burgeoning alliance, pivotal not just for its military might but for its potential to unite disparate worlds against a common foe. With her new cybernetic enhancements enhancing her tactical acumen, Eliana's focus shifted to solidifying and directing the Shadow Network, a covert alliance that was as diverse as it was volatile. Within the dimly lit conference room of the Resolve, Eliana convened the first official meeting of the Shadow Network's leadership. Gathered around the table were representatives from several species, each with their grievances against the Empire. There was Xylo from the aquatic planet Hydronia, whose people were enslaved for their unique ability to mine underwater minerals; Zar, a feline-like warrior from the forest world of Felinia, whose territories had been decimated by the Empire's deforestation; and Mira, a gifted hacker from the technologically advanced but pacifist planet Cyberton, which had been coerced into building weapons. "Eliana, we are all here because we share a common enemy." Xylo's voice gurgled through the translator. "But our unity is fragile. We must leverage our unique strengths without succumbing to infighting." Eliana nodded, her gaze steady. "Our diversity is our greatest strength. Each of you brings something vital to this fight. Xylo, your people's knowledge of subaquatic operations can help us sabotage the Empire's oceanic bases. Zar, your warriors are unmatched in guerrilla tactics. Mira, we need your skills to break into the Empire's communications networks." The plan was bold, involving simultaneous strikes on multiple Empire strongholds using guerrilla tactics and cyber warfare. Zar, skeptical of the reliance on technology, voiced his concerns. "Our claws and teeth have served us well. I do not trust these machines and codes to be the backbone of our fight." Mira, ever the peacemaker, chimed in with a reassuring tone. "Zar, I understand your concerns. But think of my tech as just another weapon in your arsenal. One that can disable a ship's defenses before your warriors even step foot on it." The discussion was intense, with each leader debating the merits and risks of their parts in the operations. Eliana facilitated the talks with a deft hand, guiding the strategy with her enhanced strategic processing, ensuring that each plan played to the strengths of its executors. The first operation was a test of their collective capability. The target was an Empire communications hub on a moon orbiting a gas giant in the neutral zone. The hub coordinated Empire military movements across 3 sectors. Disabling it would cripple their operational capabilities for weeks, possibly months. Mara initiated the assault, her fingers dancing over a holographic keyboard as she injected lines of code into the hub's defense network. Firewalls down. You're clear, Zar. Zar's team, cloaked in adaptive camouflage, infiltrated the hub. Their movements were silent, their attacks precise, as they took down the Empire troops with swift, non-lethal strikes, embodying the precision of a predator in the wild. Simultaneously, Xylo's team launched an underwater assault on an Empire supply depot located in the depths of an ocean planet. The operation was risky. The pressure at that depth could crush any vessel not specifically designed for it. Yet, the Hydronians maneuvered with ease, planting explosives that, when detonated, sent shockwaves through the Empire's supply lines. The success of these initial strikes boosted morale across the Shadow network. News of their victories spread like wildfire, inspiring oppressed populations across the galaxy to rise in small rebellions of their own. Eliana watched the reports come in, her mind racing with calculations and strategies, each success validating her leadership and the efficacy of the alliance. However, with success came increased scrutiny. The Empire, now aware of the serious threat the Shadow network posed, retaliated with brutal force. Entire planets found themselves under siege, and the network's supply lines were targeted with ruthless efficiency. Amidst this escalating conflict, Eliana received an encrypted message from a mysterious source. It promised vital information about the Empire's next major offensive. Torn between suspicion and the potential for a critical advantage, Eliana decided to meet the informant alone, against the advice of her advisors. The meeting took place on a derelict space station in an uncharted sector. The informant, a defected Empire general, offered a data chip containing the plans for the Empire's new superweapon, capable of devastating entire star systems. "Why are you helping us?" Eliana asked, wary of the general's true intentions. "Because I've seen too much suffering, too much destruction. It ends here with me," the general replied, his expression one of resolute defiance. Armed with this new knowledge, Eliana returned to the resolve. Her resolve hardened. The stakes were higher now, more than ever before. With the superweapons plans in their possession, the Shadow Network had a real chance to end the war, but at great risk. The Empire would be hunting for them with renewed vigor, knowing their most destructive tool could be compromised. Eliana convened another meeting, this time to plan the most ambitious operation yet, a direct assault on the facility producing the superweapon. The risks were immense, but the potential rewards were greater. She laid out the plan, her eyes meeting those of her allies. "We have one shot at this," she declared. "It's more than just disabling a weapon, it's about sending a message. We are not just survivors, we are the architects of a new galaxy, free from tyranny." The leaders nodded, their faces set with determination. The battle ahead would be their hardest yet, but they were ready. Ready to fight, ready to win, ready to change the course of history. In the cold expanse of space, as stars bore witness, the Shadow Network readied itself for war, united by a common cause and a fearless leader whose humanity was her greatest strength. The air was thick with anticipation as Captain Eliana Knox reviewed the plans for their most daring operation yet, an all-out strike on the Empire's superweapon facility. The war room aboard the Resolve was alive with the soft hum of technology and the low murmur of voices discussing final adjustments. Eliana addressed her assembled team, a blend of human and alien commanders, each a specialist in their field. "This operation will stretch us to our limits. But we do this not just to survive, we do this to signal the dawn of a new era. Today, we dismantle the Empire's ability to instill fear." As the team dispersed to their posts, Eliana paused to sync her neural implant with the ship's AI, allowing her to monitor and adjust the battle strategies in real time. The implant buzzed softly at her temple, a constant reminder of the weight of command. The operation was set in 3 phases. The first phase required precise coordination, as stealth units, led by Zar and his Felinian commandos, would infiltrate the facility to disable its external defenses. Eliana watched through her neural link as Zar's team moved through the shadows of the giant structure, their movements a whisper against the stark metal. "Defenses are down, Captain," Zar's voice crackled through the comms. "You're clear for the second phase." Eliana initiated Phase 2, directing the main fleet to advance. Ships slipped through the now vulnerable defense perimeter, their guns silent until within range. When they opened fire, the night lit up with the blaze of their assault. The facility's outer structures crumbled under the barrage, a ballet of destruction synchronized by Eliana's deft mental commands. In the chaos, Mira and her team of cyber warriors launched a digital onslaught, targeting the facility's internal communication and security systems. Screens within the war room flickered with streams of code and data, translating to doors locking down and security protocols failing all across the enemy base. "Systems are ours," Mira announced, a hint of triumph in her tone. "Phase 3 is a go." The final phase was the riskiest. Eliana led a squad of her most trusted soldiers directly into the heart of the facility, where the superweapon was housed. Each corridor they traversed was fraught with danger, every corner a potential ambush point. But the element of surprise was on their side, and they met little resistance, the facility's forces disorganized by Myra's cyber attacks. Reaching the core, Eliana was met with the sight of the superweapon, a colossal structure of pulsing energy and sinister design, capable of erasing planets from existence. Her heart raced as she approached the control panel, her implant interfacing with the weapon's systems. "Initiating shutdown sequence," she informed her team, her voice calm despite the pounding in her chest. The system asked for confirmation, a simple command that held the weight of countless lives. She gave it. The weapon powered down, its lights dimming, the hum of its deadly energy subsiding. Cheers erupted in the war room and across the fleet, relief and victory mingling in the cries of her crew. But Eliana's celebration was cut short by a sudden alert from her implant, a message from the Empire's command. "You have made a grave mistake, Captain Knox." The message was followed by a surge of reinforcements converging on their location. Eliana's instincts kicked in. "All units, prepare for extraction. We need to move, now!" What followed was a desperate race against time. Eliana and her team navigated through the collapsing facility, dodging between falling debris and repelling the last-ditch efforts of Empire soldiers desperate to reclaim their weapon. The facility groaned under the strain of battle damage and explosive sabotage, a dying beast lashing out in its final moments. They reached the extraction point just as their escape ship landed, its ramp descending amidst a cloud of dust and smoke. Eliana was the last to board, ensuring every member of her team was aboard before she turned to face the facility one last time. As they lifted off, the structure imploded, a silent collapse that marked the end of the Empire's reign of terror. Back on the Resolve, Eliana addressed her crew, her face weary but her eyes burning with the fire of victory. "Today, we struck a blow that will echo through the stars. The Empire knows now that we will not cower. We will not falter. We are humanity, united with our allies, and we will fight for our freedom, for our future." The crew's response was a roar of approval, a collective voice of defiance and hope. The war was far from over, but this victory was a testament to what they could achieve together. Eliana felt the weight of her responsibilities, the cost of each decision, but as she looked out at the faces of her crew, she knew they were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. As the Resolve set its course away from the remnants of the facility, Eliana allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. They had won today, but the path ahead was uncertain. She would lead them, with all her human frailties and strengths, and she would see this through to the end, for peace, for freedom, for humanity. With the superweapon facility reduced to rubble and the Galactic Empire's defenses thrown into disarray, the morale among the Shadow Network soared. Yet, the war was not over. Captain Eliana Knox understood that the real challenge was just beginning, the battle of wits and wills to end the conflict with a decisive victory that would secure a lasting peace. In the makeshift war room aboard the Resolve, Eliana convened with her closest advisors and allied leaders to plan the next critical moves. The room buzzed with the energy of victory, yet underlined with the sobering reality of the Empire's impending retaliation. "We've dealt them a significant blow, but they're far from defeated," Eliana began, addressing the room. "The Empire will be more dangerous now as they grow desperate. We need a strategy that ensures they cannot recover." Mira, the cyber warrior, chimed in. "We've intercepted communications suggesting the Empire is rallying their forces for a major counterstrike. They're mustering near the Hellion cluster. Tsar, the feline-like warrior, growled softly. Then we strike first. We use their momentum against them. Draw them into the cluster and set a trap. Eliana nodded, her mind racing through simulations and strategies, enhanced by her neural implant. That could work. The cluster's nebula could interfere with their sensors. We'll have the element of surprise. Dr. Lena Horowitz, the chief strategist, proposed. We could also use this time to strengthen our alliances. Bring more systems on board, show them that the Empire is faltering. Eliana agreed. Lena, coordinate with our diplomats. We need every ally we can muster. Mira, keep an eye on their comms. Tsar, start planning the ambush. I want options on my desk within the hour. As the team dispersed, Eliana stayed back, poring over star maps and data, her mind a whirlwind of potential outcomes. Her implant connected her to the ship's AI, allowing her to visualize battle scenarios in real time, each simulation bringing her closer to the perfect strategy. Days passed as preparations for the ambush were set. The Resolve and its fleet hid within the shadows of the Hellion cluster's nebulae, waiting for the Empire's fleet to enter the trap. Eliana's plan was bold, relying on precision and the element of surprise, qualities that defined her leadership. The moment came when the first Empire ships appeared on the sensors, moving cautiously into the cluster. Eliana gave the signal, and the Shadow Network's fleet sprang into action. Ships emerged from the nebula, weapons blazing, catching the Empire's fleet off guard. The battle was fierce, with the Resolve leading the charge, cutting through the enemy lines like a knife through cloth. Amidst the chaos of battle, Eliana received a communication from an unexpected source, an Empire admiral wishing to parley. Curious and cautious, she accepted the call, her face projected in front of the admiral's. Captain Knox, you have fought valiantly and honorably, the admiral began, his voice tinged with respect. I propose a ceasefire and negotiations for peace. The Emperor realizes the futility of further bloodshed. Eliana's mind raced, analyzing the offer. Was it a genuine offer, or a ploy to buy time? After a moment of consideration, she replied, We agree to the ceasefire, Admiral. Let's arrange a time and place for the negotiations. The ceasefire brought a temporary peace, a respite from the constant fighting. Eliana used this time to strengthen the network's position, rallying more systems to her cause and fortifying their defenses. Diplomatic meetings were arranged, with both sides coming to the negotiating table. The peace talks were held on a neutral space station, attended by delegates from various systems and empires. Eliana led the delegation, her presence commanding and resolute. The negotiations were tense, with both sides laying out their terms. The Empire, weakened and cornered, conceded to several of the network's demands, including territorial sovereignty and reparations for the war's destruction. Eliana, throughout the negotiations, remained firm yet fair, her leadership qualities shining through. She understood the delicate balance of power and the need for a stable galaxy. After days of intense discussions, a treaty was drafted, one that promised to end hostilities and pave the way for a new era of cooperation and peace. As she signed the treaty, Eliana felt a mix of relief and weariness. The war had taken its toll on her people, and on the galaxy. But now, there was hope, a hope for a future where such conflict would be a distant memory. Returning to the Resolve, Eliana addressed her crew and the coalition. Today, we begin the hard work of building peace. It won't be easy, but I believe in us. I believe in our ability to rise from the ashes of war and forge a path towards a brighter future. The crew's response was a resounding cheer, their faith in Eliana unshakable. As the Resolve set its course towards Earth, Eliana looked out into the stars, her thoughts turning towards home. She had led her people through the darkness of war, and now she would lead them into the light of peace, her resolve as strong as ever. In the aftermath of the peace treaty, Captain Eliana Knox faced her greatest challenge yet, steering the delicate process of rebuilding and forging a lasting peace across the galaxy. The war had ended, but its scars ran deep in the hearts and minds of all who had been touched by the conflict. Eliana convened a series of reconciliation talks aboard the Resolve, now stationed above Earth, serving as the temporary headquarters for the interstellar peace effort. Representatives from both the former empire and the coalition of free systems gathered under one banner, their faces a tapestry of the galaxy's diversity. As we begin, let us remember that while the war has ended, our work is far from over. Eliana addressed the assembly. We are here not just to heal the wounds of the past but to prevent new conflicts from arising. We have a unique opportunity to build something stronger than what was destroyed. The talks focused on disarmament, war reparations, and the establishment of a galactic peacekeeping force. Each topic brought its own set of challenges, as old grievances surfaced and tensions flared. Eliana navigated these discussions with a keen sense of diplomacy, her neural implant providing her with real-time data and analysis to aid her decisions. During a crucial session on disarmament, a heated argument erupted between a former Empire general and a resistance leader from the Tsar system. Voices raised, the threat of old hatreds reigniting a spark that could unravel the fragile peace. Eliana intervened, her voice cutting through the chaos. This is exactly what we are here to overcome, she said firmly. Let us not be defined by our past, but by our capacity to grow beyond it. General, you have seen the horrors of war firsthand. And you, Commander, have fought for your people's freedom. Now I ask you both, what world do you want to build for those who will inherit it from us? The room fell silent, the weight of her words settling over the assembly. The general and the commander looked at each other, the animosity slowly fading from their eyes as they considered her question. I want a world where no child has to grow up on a battlefield, the general said softly. And I want a world where every system has a voice. The commander added, his tone more conciliatory. Then let's work towards that, Eliana encouraged, facilitating a discussion that led to a significant breakthrough in the disarmament treaty. Meanwhile, the issue of reparations was fraught with financial complexities and political maneuvering. Systems devastated by the war needed support, but the economy of the former empire was also in ruins. Eliana proposed a solution based on a mutual rebuilding fund, contributed to by all systems proportionate to their abilities and received according to their needs. This approach was innovative and required considerable debate and modeling but ultimately was accepted as a framework that promoted healing and mutual investment in the future of the galaxy. As the days turned into weeks, the peace talks made tangible progress. A framework for the Galactic Peacekeeping Force was established, designed not only to enforce the terms of the treaty but also to intervene in potential conflicts before they escalated. Eliana felt a personal stake in this, advocating for a force that was not just powerful but also deeply informed by the values of justice and equity. We need enforcers who are also peace builders, she explained to the assembly. This force should represent the best of us. With the major elements of the treaty resolved, the final session was one of celebration and reflection. Eliana stood before the assembly, her gaze sweeping over the faces of those who had once been enemies but were now partners in peace. Today, we stand on the brink of a new era, she began, her voice imbued with emotion and the fatigue of long days of negotiation. We have laid down our arms and picked up the tools of peace. We have chosen to forge bonds instead of battles. As applause filled the room, Eliana felt a mix of relief and somber responsibility. The peace they had achieved was tentative, its maintenance requiring constant vigilance and effort. After the delegates had left, Eliana took a moment for herself on the observation deck of the Resolve, looking out at the stars. The galaxy remained a vast and unpredictable place, but for the first time in a long time, it felt like a home to all its inhabitants. Her communicator beeped, a message from an outpost on the edge of the galaxy, reporting successful negotiations in a local dispute that could have flared into violence. Smiling, Eliana realized that the peace they were building was already taking root. As she prepared to leave the deck, Eliana felt the weight of her neural implant at her temple, a constant reminder of the war and the tools it had forced her to use. She made a decision then, one that felt like the closing of a circle. She would have the implant removed. It had served its purpose, but she no longer wanted to be a human augmented for war. She wanted to face the future as just a human, one who had seen the worst of times, but helped bring about the best. Returning to her office, Eliana drafted a message to her medical team and another to the newly formed peacekeeping force. Her message was simple and clear. Let's build a future founded on hope, not fear. With that, Captain Eliana Knox turned her gaze forward, ready to lead not just a ship or an army, but a galaxy into peace.